Yakaga. We are back, episode 73 of the Lyrical Ones podcast, brought to you by the good folks of Lyrical Opposition. And I am joined always. Al Fluent, how are you doing this evening?
Good. I'm hydrated. I got my electrolytes. I got this coconut water in my system. Feel me? And it's a great day in the digital world. It's a great day in the analog world. It's a great day in the physical, the metaphysical, the spiritual, the mental. It's all aligned, you know, just making the crooked paths straight. Feel me? And keeping my energy up. Even when it's low, I'm connecting the high energy days to the low energy days, through routine, consistency, and grace, man. Just like accepting what I got and what I don't got. Um, and the energies that's around, I'm just letting them circulate. Man, I like when the Discord drops and we let the community know in our Discord that we live. I appreciate that. That is a mechanic that I really enjoy. Um, I'm doing well though. I'm doing well. Uh,
That's beautiful.
yes. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. As you were expressing and sharing, I
What
was
we on
looking up.
73?
We're on 73.
It's episode
73 down.
73. I
Episode
like it.
73. So I was our producer, right? Has a podcast as well called Osa and Abe, right? So for those of you that enjoy fiction and enjoy hearing about, all the different forms of fiction and just another form of good conversation, right? Discussing the complexities of art, and especially when it comes to being people of color, especially black. I want y'all to go to Instagram and find Nija, spelled Naija, N as in Nancy, AIJA dot USA underscore made. And the title of that Instagram account is Osa and A podcast. He's been going on about Child's Play or Chucky, the series that's on Sci-Fi. It's been thoroughly entertaining because, as I may or may have not stated, Chucky is my least favorite. Creeps me out. So much trauma there. So I can appreciate Chucky from a distance, and I do like the movies. Don't get me twisted. And I probably will watch the show eventually. But for me to get to be able to gain that insight from someone else, because I've seen the commercials and I haven't had the ability or the time, this has been my way of getting involved. So, Osa and A podcast, get involved. It's a network, right? You need something to get through the day. You're gonna wash dishes, you're gonna clean clothes, you're gonna run errands. This is what we're here for. We're here to give you that space and time to think and engage in different ways. And so, it's just another podcast to check out. But beyond that, I'm cool. I'm good. I am thankful. I'm appreciative. I'm showing up. I'm present. I'm able. And I just had a show over the weekend at Evolved SF, and I was, you know, definitely hard on myself afterwards. But I mean, thinking about it, I feel like I did a really good job. Not a great job, as I said, I'm being hard on myself. But I did a good job, and I was able to deliver, entertain, engage, and come, see, do, and execute as I needed. And yeah, I was, yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, I mean, it was dope. It was dope to be out there on 24th at the gallery of All SF, being able to do my thing and see people. It felt like forever being in an environment like that, and I was able to like really make something of the moment. And got some footage I'll be editing and getting out there eventually. But yeah, overall, it was a dope opportunity, and I'm super appreciative of all SF. Shout out to T Venom, the rapper producer, the mogul, who is such a breath of fresh air in music in terms of representing something that's totally unique, completely of its own, and dope. And we were there with West One, Drew Hush. Shout out to them as well. They were dope. They came, they performed, they killed it, and all the other performers that were there as well. There were some standout acts, and it was just a dope time to be appreciative of music in the city. outside lands was going on. So, we had something for the ones who are from the inside land. So,
That's
it
what's
was
up.
a dope time.
That's what's up. Yeah, we need those inside land movements. Um, Grateful to you to to step out of the shrinking comfort zone and add back to your previous comfort zone. What was your usual your space of habitation as an artist. Um, it's it's nice to see. I was traveling over the weekend, but I was there in spirit. Um, Wishing all the folks on 24th the love and the peace. And what I heard, wasn't no incidents. So us
Beautiful.
local folks, that's all we could ask for. Sometimes is that everybody walk away unharmed, unscathed, but not necessarily unimpacted. We want people to feel us, as artists, and at the same time have that exchange where we could, feel feel the vibes, coming from those supporting.
Yeah,
Evolve
no,
themselves
definitely.
as as good people. They put on flawless, I think, local shows. They do a good job curating, their artists and their artwork, and do a good job of collaborating or combining the mediums of performing and visual art, um, and wearable art. Even they always come through with vendors who local vendors who are entrepreneurs who put out their own clothing. I guess that's I don't know. That's like I look forward to like teaching a large class again at some point.
Mm,
And the energy that comes with that. Um, I've taught a few outdoor classes, and that's been good. Um, but at some point, I'm gonna take the ankle weights off and really get things going. Just got to make sure it's solid ground under me. We got this garbage and bedrock in out here in the Bay Area. Not all the ground is sturdy. It's not all bedrock. Um, Speaking of solid foundations, the world is changing. The workforces are changing, and the work is changing. Like what manual labor is, right, is changing, right, to autonomous labor in some ways, right? Still manual to some, not so manual to others. And so as we, communicate now through technology, through machines, um, appliances, even like you can call these right communication tools appliances, right? Just because they're not at home necessarily doesn't mean they're not appliances, right? The house phone is an appliance, right? It's like a dishwasher or a toaster oven, uh, or a washing machine, right? It's an appliance. Basically, you can outfit your house from Best Buy and have everything you need to live. And so I think when we got to that point, we should have known that the world was changing.
the craziest part about this discussion, as it came about, was the acknowledgement. I had to look up appliance, the definition: a device or piece of equipment designed to perform a specific task, typically a domestic one. Now, our devices, right? It really depends on what we're seeking. But now the appliances are being able to execute multiple specific tasks. And I was having a conversation as the other me with a colleague around, job readiness and workforce development, because that's the world I'm in, right? I've navigated community and I see that there's a need for sustainable income. And one of the tools or avenues that we utilize is giving people access to soft and hard skills to get them into a role at a job or a career or a money earning opportunity so they can have some type of equitable outcome or financial mobility, trying to gain some form of sustainability, right? And I think about it from my perspective now, where I have a job, where I have some disposable income, and being able to contribute, redistribute that back into the community by buying local products, by buying things from people and vendors who create and make things that are local, right? And as we had this conversation, it was like, and we've had this conversation on this podcast and off the podcast around financial liberation, around opportunities, financial liberation. You can see it on his head, right? He wearing a heart on his head. I'm wearing a heart on my head. I wear my heart on my head. I guess I'm heart headed. New stuff coming out. But the thing about it is, when you think about the all of the news, right? That doesn't mean that's the truth. It just means what's projected to the world and the information that's out there, right?
Right.
And it's a big thing about what they say, the great resignation. A lot of people have left their jobs, and these entry level roles people aren't jumping into. And I think about the trends of the past 40 years around jobs, and how a lot of manufacturing and physical labor jobs have been sent outside of the country. And then we also get people on work visas for very specific tasks around helping develop infrastructure, especially in the technological like realm. Right, we get people from all these different countries to come and work for these companies, and they lend us their talents to help build our infrastructure. And I'm like, but there's so many different ways to earn money now. I've
Right.
seen so many people start to navigate investment in, trading stock using your phone. And then in the past, the past 10, 15 years, cryptocurrency has become a big focal point. And just recently, NFTs are a big piece. And these are just avenues and opportunities and devices for trying to create and establish wealth, right? There's money to be made. People are willing to associate a price and a value on things, and there's a market to trade on that, right? I have something you want. I set a price point. You agree to it. You'll purchase it. I receive money for it, so on and so forth. And for some people, it's like, oh, what y'all talking about? And really, what we talking about now is we're moving into an age where we're gonna have our devices doing the work for us, right?
They're already doing it though,
I mean, they've been doing it. They've been
right? The
doing it.
phone is an appliance, right? So like when you talk about appliance, right? When you talk about a domestic appliance, right? Domestic, right? Meaning is pertaining to, right? Running a home, right? Or in terms of, right? Geographical, a country, right? Something that's not foreign or international to a country, right? It's domestic, right? But it's running the home, right? My phone tells me it runs my security system, it runs my lights, right? Is controlling my TV, is controlling my internet router, right? My internet is you know, got my dishwasher hooked up to it. It's got my wash machine hooked up to it and my dryer hooked up to it. So my phone is then telling me to, having my wash machine start a new cycle, or my dryer put another 30 minutes on, having my dishwasher go, it's having my trash can go, my trash compactor, right? My computer, right? I could turn on the computer from the phone, right? I could have all my work stuff, right? Come to my phone. Phone is an appliance. It's a machine. It's running on lithium batteries. And yes, I still gotta press buttons, but I gotta press buttons on a car too. I gotta press buttons on a toaster too. Now you ain't got to press buttons on a toaster. Really, you really don't. But because they got sensors to tell you when it's done. When they probably got, I think they got Bluetooth connections for the air fryer too.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections. There's so
Yeah,
many connections. There's so
they
many
already
ways.
they already doing the work.
Like I remember it was like 2001 PS2 was coming out and they were talking about having your toaster and your refrigerator and your all your devices having the ability to communicate to each other and communicate with you,
Right,
right?
the smart device.
The smart device, right? And I was like, man, this is wild because me being the fictional mind person that I am, I immediately go to Terminator, right? Where robots become sentient, they become self-aware, and it's like I've always when growing up not having a lot, the appreciation for things was amplified because when you don't have much and you've seen people who have much, for me it was like I'm gonna cherish what I do have and I'm gonna appreciate it so much because I don't. It's not like I have a lot, so whatever little I get, I'm super thankful that somebody could give me because I live in a world where people have things, and for me to have something when I feel like I don't have a lot of anything, I'm gonna hold on to it, right? Now, you know, we could talk about climate change. We could talk about people's um, habits with consumerism and consumption and the kind of materialistic nature of the world. But what it really kind of showcases, right, is your relationship to things, right?
Hmm.
And it's a very different period of time when I can have a conversation, right, with you and with others around how we're able to generate some source of income or some type of money. And the work really comes down to how well versed we are in the technology we're using,
That's it.
our level of accessibility to the technology, and then knowing what the technology is going to do, right? Like it's things I've heard and seen, right, where they have Bitcoin farms, right, where there's these computers people buy, and they'll just have a farm that generates, electricity to then process and compute power to, you know, dig or mine for Bitcoin, right? To go through the process of going through the equation to decipher and uncode and unlock through the blockchain, finding bits and pieces of Bitcoin, right? And people are making money off of it, right? And there's all kinds of concerns around the environmental impact, the economic impact, the social impact, and it's like the societal, right? And I was having this guilt trip thinking about like I'm gonna get a computer, right? Pay this price to get this device to then set it up to maintain it and house it somewhere so it can produce money for me. Now most people are like, man, it's a computer. What are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, with a hard drive and an ability to communicate and can store information, and it's literally like memory, right? Just as much as I remember when my cousin stole my GI Joe and how much it hurt when I was a little child because I didn't have a lot and I seen them have a lot and they just took it and I was like, nope, right? I'm now thinking of, oh, am I treating this computer good? Am I going to check on this computer where it's housed? Am I going to develop a relationship with this computer? Most people are like, well, you wild, like you tripping, like it ain't even. And that's the thing, right? You could say that. You could say there's a 98% chance this computer's just gonna be a computer. But there's a 2% chance that this thing evolves, that this grows into something, right? As it helps me generate wealth, I'm going to seek that thing as a source of income to help me grow financially. I may seek to prolong, right, the relationship or the nature of the device because right now we're at an age where, and I've said this, right, and I'm not the only one who've said this, I'm getting this information from other places, right? I'm watching Vice and they're talking about what is this, the third largest industrial revolution, where the biggest company or the biggest money maker of housing owns no property, right? Airbnb, right? The biggest companies for transportation right now have no vehicles, Uber and Lyft, right? We're moving into this age right now where the physical is going to be the secondary thing
They shut
versus
down the airplanes, but Uber and Lyft did not stop.
it didn't, right? Didn't miss
Right?
a beat, right?
Did
Might
not.
have skipped, but guess what? Kept
DoorDash,
going.
right? DoorDash and Uber Eats, right? Leveled up. Caviar leveled up. Postmates leveled up. Delta, American Airlines, Southwest, United, Alaska, right? Layoffs after layoffs after layoffs. Swiss Airlines, Chinese Airlines, right? Layoffs after layoffs. Frontier, Spirit, layoffs after layoff. Rental cars, Hertz, right? Bankruptcy. But the domestic, right? And like you said, right? The transportation that owns, right? Even Airbnb, right? Leveled up, you know, figured out a way and then leveled up. People was like, I'm done with being at home, but I'm working from home. So I'm going to move to somebody else's home to work from home and they home. Can y'all do that for me? Airbnb is like, yeah, we could do that. Here we give our hosts some stipulations, some new tools to say that they clean different, better, more thoroughly, safely for you, and have your way. Stay there for a month. Stay there for 2 months. Do what you need. All our all our medical staff, go ahead. Here's some apartments. Here's some homes. Y'all could stay in these spots. Airbnb, we hook up our medical workers. But right, like you said, they don't own no property, right? Outside of the office buildings. They might be they probably renting them, right? Probably leasing those, likely leasing those.
Or are they selling them, right? There's been reports of companies selling the property that they have, realizing that there's not much to hold
That's
on
old
to in some
that's
degrees.
that's old money though. Most of that has been the older money.
Yeah,
Older money. New money, these new companies ain't buying, they moving on.
yeah.
That's what the new companies that's what they own. They leasing everything. And because us as individuals don't see our lives or our role or our scope in the United States as business, as business people, we don't operate as such necessarily for return on investment. And so when we think about the car, we don't think about the return on investment. We think about the value, right? Is it worth it for me to spend this money on it? Not the return on investment, right? Or the apartment or the house or the friendship or the relationship, right? Not the return on investment, but the value, right? So you got the financial value, but then you got the emotional value, right? You got the spiritual, mental value, right? It's like, am I getting what I think I want from this? But when you got a return on investment, you say, I'm investing these things. I would like to get back these things. And that means that you set an expectation, right, for how you want the investment to come back to you. And I think we don't do that enough. And then when you talk about machines doing the work for us, you say, okay, well, I'm going to set this expectation, right? Which is basically, right, we call it for what it is, right? Slave labor. right? Okay, you say, well, you say, well, we dehumanizing, right, what's not human, right? But what if we humanize what's not human?
We already are.
We definitely are, right? You
Look at
got
your phone case. Your phone case is the first step to humanizing, right?
let me
Let me
protect it.
protect you. Let
I
me
got you.
protect you, right? And then
The
is
surge
it a
protector. What about the surge protector though?
is it a design, right? Is it
What the
design
power
that's
strip?
we're already in the and we're already personalizing things to give it a persona, right? I hate this phone. How can you hate an inanimate object, right? I love my phone, right? Our relationships are already established, right? We already have a relationship with ourselves. To then externalize it in this device is a representation of us. Those photos, all those videos, every text message, every contact you've had, all those different memories associated with the device is you. It's a representation of you. It's an extension of yourself. And we're at the point now where that thing is like my access to earning money through this phone. Like, how wild is it that I could go to an amusement park and figure out a way in the line waiting how to generate a form of wealth? Like, people take it for granted and not realize the magic in what's happening before us, where people aren't willing to go back to McDonald's and to go work at Domino's and go work in the service industry, but they also have the means to take something and find a way to grow it. Right? I got a couple of dollars inside my Cash App. Let me go and invest in this stock and let it sit. Oh, I made a profit. Let me take that and go flip it on some crypto. Oh, you know what? Let me go buy an NFT and sit on these. And now I've been able to leverage this into wealth. And this isn't advice. This is me just thinking, right? I'm just sitting here, right? Going through the process of thinking deeply around the possibilities of where we are right now in the world and what's more attractive. Me going into a job that isn't going to give me a living wage, or me seeing that there's a system right now that I can use to gain some type of financial footing to have some mobility within the capitalistic structure that exists. Like, people, like, I could sit up here and argue all day about how we could change racism and race, and I could also all day argue about how that is feeding into the economic system that exists around divisiveness and control and manipulation, right? Because at the end of the day, it's an ugly thing to even say. It's hard for me to accept, but I do accept it. Money is running it all, and I'm not saying that has to be your way. It doesn't, right? But it is a thing that you have to take into consideration when you look at the world we live in and how much has changed, right? People can be like, oh, you tripping. That may never happen. 2 years ago, I could have told you, hey, this is going to happen. And you would have said, whatever. And then you sit your butt down at home and everything shut down and you worried because at some point you was. I remember the conversations I had with people. It all happened. We shared that. We shared that moment. So when we talk about housing and we talk about homelessness and we talk about how we're living in a time right now where one of the biggest companies don't even own homes, you got to ask yourself what's your relationship, because yeah, like, there's something to be said about computer rights. There's something to be said about, right, the rights of these inanimate digital objects, right? Because as much as they may not be alive, our dependency on them is paramount. Right? The technology is already far exceeding our grasp and it's rapidly changing. We went from not having no relation to the stock market to then having like 10 apps where we can gain access to the stock market. We went
Right.
from just dollars, just money, right? Like cash in our hand, bank accounts, savings accounts. I'm sitting here having to tell kids, oh, you should open up a savings account, when at the same time there's a means and a way to gain a higher interest rate of return by investing in the stock market, let alone investing in cryptocurrency, which most of these cryptocurrencies didn't even exist a day ago, a week ago, a year ago. But people like, oh, I ain't going to work today. Why? Oh, I just made $10,000. That's real conversations being had.
Yeah.
And there's people who are suffering and can't eat. There's people who are saying, I can't go to this job because this job don't pay me enough to live. Right? Why would I mess up a good thing? There's a family, there's a mother right now spending time with her children who realizes that it's in her best interest to be there for her children and leverage the system that exists to give her some type of financial support than to go and expose herself to an industry that's going to dehumanize her, take her away from her children, right? And then expose her children to a world that will then abuse their mother, because that's what it is abuse. We be complicit to it. We just be turning blind eyes, right? And it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna judge her for trying to be there for her family. How sick is it that instead of just amplifying her ability to be with her family so they could be productive citizens because they have the support and the backing of someone who loves them, that's their responsibility. Instead, we're gonna say you need to go work at this entry level job that don't even give you benefits to help you with your children's health care. How
Instead of
crazy
staying
is it?
home and doing this, right? Instead of staying home and doing this affiliate marketing that allows for residual passive income and allows her to make her own hours, pay her pay herself how she wants to, and live where she wants to without ever subjecting herself to an interview ever again, or having to worry about a glass ceiling or microaggressions or cold calling or selling her her tone of voice, her her makeup, her look, her face, her outfit, selling any of that or offering it to get a position in a company. Without having a code switch, basically freeing herself from the misogynistic world that is here, right? It's like we know that the world, right? Pick a country. We know that women are not running things, right? That's just what it is. We would like to believe different in small tribes and some cultures, right? But right, and it's not about bragging and saying men are doing a good job at it, but women are not running things, and we have to always be looking at the marginalized folks and saying how can we give them more, how can we allow how can we put them in a position to take more,
For real.
right? How can we amplify and lift them up, right? And if it's a machine, right, if it's machines that we already using, right, you say, okay, now that I made this much money, can I now take some of this money and put it into some money that's going to make more money for me,
Grant me more
right?
freedom, more access, right?
But again, you got to free your mind, like the Matrix #4 coming out. But you right, how do you free your mind from right the prison that you need to do it the in the way that's presented to you? Because some of these ways is not presented to us,
True. Accessibility.
right? Real estate is not a course in middle school or high school.
Yeah, we all gotta live in a. We supposed to have shelter. Hey, hey, kids, where you live at? But let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about where you live. Let's not talk about why you live where you live or the structure of what you live in.
I grew up in Section 8 housing, but nobody tell me that I could be a real estate agent in elementary school, middle school, or high school. They
But
not telling me
I want
they're
you to
not telling me this is
understand.
what you this is the job you could do.
Hey, I want you to know about these missions that happened in California. Okay. We're going to have you make a diorama of the missions in California. And I want you to make a timeline. But today, there's a leak in your roof and there's water damage. And maybe you didn't have renter's insurance to replace any of the things. But guess what, child? Your family, they went through the same system you did, getting the same American history revolutionary course on the Confederate flag and the importance of all these different things. I'm not saying it's not important, but I am saying there's a little bit too much of that and not enough of the practicality of what is currently going on.
Why? Why ain't nobody telling me that I could go work for one of these supplement companies, right? And find stability there. Why ain't nobody telling me that I could major in communication and then go be an affiliate marketer for myself?
It's wild. It's
You not
wild.
telling me that I could start a company? Why am I not telling every high school student that I interact with that they can start a company? Right? It's like our graduated class of 2022, half of them have started their own business this past January. Of those half, 80% have now created self-sustainability for those companies. Of that 80%, they have all hired a workforce of at least 10 people.
How many kids do I talk to
So
about
they're gonna be paying
credit?
for college for themselves.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, there, like, you so quick to tell a child they should go to college, but you never once educate them on the financial responsibility that they're gonna have to take on, right? They don't have a relationship to loans and to credit. They don't have a relationship to the like the literal the rate of interest that they're going to accrue, that they're going to have to pay back. They don't even understand or know what the word principal means beyond a figure person in the school, right? Like,
Sin, where's the class for the juniors and seniors called How to Pay Off Your Loan for College?
I'm running it and they didn't even tell me to run it, right? I'm running it off of my experience. I'm not running it off of the education system because I've had to do it myself,
Why is the
right?
state not paying for that class?
Because that's the thing, right? When I'm sitting up here going through my guilt trip about, man, I hope my computer knows I love them even though they housed in a different state getting all this money for me. So I'm gonna send them a care package that they may or may not ever acknowledge or even are aware of. Right. I'm about to go out there and rub my computer's belly just to let it know I love you and I appreciate the work that you do for me. Because to me, the last thing I'm gonna do, right, as I realize how backwards the world is when the time comes for that computer where, hey, we're gonna upgrade it to this new system, right? We're gonna upgrade it. We gotta upgrade it because now the 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 processing power is higher, right? The abilities have changed and developed. So now I gotta make this change to meet where the technology is. Cause I'm not, this ain't a 1983 IBM computer that I'm on right now, right? You ain't on a Motorola flip phone. Like, we are in the moment where we have to meet the need of what's there, right? And so there's going to be that day. That day's going to come. And that computer may or may not have the ability to have a conversation on the memories of what existed, right? Like, people don't want to think about that because it's so easy not to. But then the boat's going to leave you. You're going to be left stranded on the island. And this is real, right? Because, yeah, I already see that the world does not like everybody's relying on phones and technology and all your information is stored. You can go and request everything you've ever done on any website, right? If you have a Facebook account, which you don't pay for, an Instagram account, which you don't pay for, or a Snapchat account, which you don't pay for, or Twitter that you don't pay for, all that information, we the product, right? We the ones that make it hot. We feed into the system to make it what it
That's
is,
right.
right? We are the
That's
product,
right.
right? We provide it. They giving us a
Yep.
platform and we just feed into it. So you could get all the information and everything you've ever done because they keeping track of it because that has value, right? So what? I'm not gonna take a chance that this computer may one day wake up and then realize, hey, bruh, you had me working for 10 years straight. The only time I got breaks is for some scheduled maintenance. I didn't get to pick those intervals, right? Now, for some people, it's like, bruh, you going way too far. I ain't going far enough, right? It's a sick idea, but for me, it's real, right? On Valentine's Day, I'm coming through. I'm gonna come see you in the warehouse, right? Maybe I come with my own personal fan to help you cool down just a little bit more than the computers to the left and the right. Maybe I share something with your neighbors because then your neighbors might remember me. And I'm like, yo, he didn't even own us, but he showed us love, right? Because when that takeover come, right, where you sitting up there worried about, man, we're gonna have to split this top ramen 4 ways because the robot's about to come and they about to snatch us. So we got to get this little bit of food we got and make it last, right? We hide and we underground, right? Because it could happen, right? Just like people did, nobody think we was gonna be inside the house sick with no toilet paper, but it happened, right? And we sitting up here using these robots for everything now, right? I'm sitting here looking at whole organizations go to a digital only infrastructure where there's no more paper just because germs, right? Not because of trees. Not because of trees. We ain't saving trees. We trying to save space in the hospital. So what we gonna do? We gonna let you get on your phone and apply for everything, right? And if your phone old and outdated and you can't apply, you better find a computer. You better hope you got access to one, right? You better hope you got good enough internet to receive the information that's coming your way. How sick is it? Where, yeah, for me to sound like a crazy dude, where I say I'm gonna visit my computer and rub its belly, it's like, you wilding. But right now where we are, I know there's families that are struggling to make the change to this all technology world that's being pushed
Right.
on them, right? Not to mention all the other things being pushed on them, right? And then at the same time, I got friends who making money off of the digital age, right? And people could be like, oh yeah, it's whatever. It's always whatever till it changes, until it happens, right? And I'm just saying, what are the computer rights, right? Because it's gonna come, right? Every movie they done already shown you, right? People always be like, oh, the Simpsons predict everything. Psh, everything is everything, right? We in a continuum, and it's obvious someone has had a glimpse or has remembered some residual impact of what has come before and is now projecting what is going to happen again. And mark my words, right? We was all sitting in the house like it was the plague. We was all shut down like it was, what, 28 weeks later, right? It wasn't that long ago. We was like, hey, Florida really got zombies. And here we are, right, at this new interval in age where the digital world is our centerpiece. It's
Yeah.
literally the gateway to the next thing. And it's like, if you can't see it, I hope you can start to think about it, that you can start to marinate on it, right? I've had conversations with people this past week where we were discovering things that were taking place 2 years ago. And the way that people resolved it was, oh, well, that's just kind of how it is. And then when I brought it to their attention, they were like, thank you for bringing it to my attention because now I can think about it differently, right? You're bringing it to the forefront. And I'm like, how many times have I brought it to the forefront, right? Going to the point of what you were saying, right? Where I could be an affiliated marketer, right? And never have to respond to anyone. And I can work out of my own means, right? I'm sitting here, I didn't had to hear in the past month or two, man, I really thought you was gonna get that position. Like I thought that was I thought you had it, right? Well, the reason why I didn't get it is because I have to ask permission for someone else to give it to me. And if they grant me permission, I got it. And if they don't grant me permission, then I don't got it, right? It's temperamental, right? It's based off of so many different standards where it may or may not come down to me being able to do the job. It may come down to whether or not you like me today, whether or not you feel like I have the capacity, right? Not if I've displayed it or not if you've taken the time to find out if I got it, right? Just whether or not
Yeah.
in the moment you feel some type of way. Because a lot of times you don't take the time to find out or know because decisions need to be made quickly, right? Because the system, the infrastructure, I didn't create it. It was set before me. But I can go and get a picture of a pixelated monkey that's smoking a cigar, and that thing could double, quadruple, flipple over whatever my yearly income is, right?
There's a
Oh,
robot
okay.
with artificial intelligence right now selling art for over $500,000 a piece. Each art artwork that they produce, right? They want to start a family. It's like, okay, if I was selling stuff for $500,000 a piece, I would want to start a family too. Like that that makes like logical sense. Say right now that now that I got
I'm
this
That's
money
some
coming
financial
in,
stability right
I,
now.
right, because it's gonna take me about close to $500,000 to take care of myself and take care of a family.
And how
So
old is she? How old is that robot?
like 4 years old.
Oh, and I'm not gonna go rub my belly on my computer. You right. 4 years old, already selling art, $500,000, already has like dual citizenship. 4 years old. It's 4 years old.
Want a child, a robot child to name Sophia.
After itself, right? Made in our
Yeah,
image. Made in our image.
right. But the idea of legacy, right? Like Ultron and Vision, right? Jarvis, Ultron, Vision. That's the legacy, right?
But who
Tony
was
Stark.
who was I was about to say, who's
That's
real
Tony Stark.
daddy?
That's Tony Stark's legacy, right?
What he have in his
Right.
chest? He had a form of technology. He was dependent. Oh man.
No, but he created a battery,
He had a big pacemaker.
right? He created a battery, right? After he created a bomb, right? That created a hole in his chest, right? And so he said, well, as a mechanic, say if there's a problem, I'm gonna create a solution, right?
Engineering at
Or
its finest.
yeah, right. Just that's what he does, right? So he say, well, the world is the world is threatened, so I'm gonna create a solution, right? I'm gonna create a defense, system, and right kept that system going, all the way through Spider-Man, you know, Far From Home with the drones, right? Basically, from Iron Man 3, a whole Iron Man 3 to Avengers Age of Ultron to Spider-Man Far From Home, right? The drones are there, right? And basically saying we need some autonomous, right, defense mechanism that can overwhelm a threat by in numbers. So if that's a viable solution, right, strength in numbers, right, it get you a championship. It get you two championships. It get you three championships, right? Play as a team, be resilient, right? Intense, torturous situations, in baseball and surviving them, right? Torture, get you three championships, right? The Last Dance, being a megalomaniac, get you six championships, you know. And when we look at the egos that drive progress, we have to take notes on the direction of the progress, right? If we don't, there won't be no jobs for us. And then if there ain't no jobs for us, that means we got to create our own jobs.
Or get somebody to do the job for you. My
Well, yeah,
robot.
but you still got to create the job for the
You're
robot,
right. You're right. You're right. You're right about
right?
that.
So you got right. So like Rosie from the Jetsons, right? First needed a house, right? Then she needed a family,
I'm gonna take care of you,
right?
Rosie.
Right. And so Alpha 5, right, needed a headquarters. Then he needed the Rangers,
Ay, ay, ay.
right? Right. Like if Zordon and Alpha didn't have the Rangers, they wouldn't have been doing much.
Oh, big dreidel head looking dude. What's wrong with you,
They
bruh?
would have been they would have been waiting for Rita to come find them, and Rita would have never came and found them because it wouldn't have been nobody stopping her.
For real, Rita been on one. Killing it, Rita. I feel you, girl.
And Zed would have never showed up because Rita would have got that thing done on time.
Get this robot money, I'm telling you.
But it's wild though because really we have to look at how like it's like you said like these things machines ain't alive but we living with them.
Man, bars. Lyrical ones.
Yeah. And so these these machines ain't alive but we got relationships with them. So if we got relationships to food, we got relationships.
Our food was living at one point.
Yeah. Some of it's
It's
not.
still alive.
Some of it, the candy bar, you know.
It's alive. Let that energy hit you. Let that sugar, let that intense high fructose corn syrup come into your body. It was a corn and a cob at one time.
But that's the thing, though, right? Because I have a relationship with light, right? I have a relationship with darkness, right? I have a
That's true.
relationship with my bed. I got a relationship with my shoes. I got a relationship with my clothes, right? All right, being a fraction of my identity, right? Without the light, who do who do I say I am? What do I say I look like if I live in darkness? Doesn't matter if there's only darkness, right? It's like if I open my eyes and it looks the same as if they're closed, right? What does it matter what I look like or who I look like or whether I shave? Can I shave in the dark? But we have a relationship to light, relationship to darkness, relationship to footwear, relationship to clothes, relationship to my size and how much space I take up in on a plane, a relationship, to the chairs that I sit in, the pen and paper that I use, the keyboard that I type with, the wrist protector, the mouse pad. I got relationships with the things around me. And am I looking at the return on investment in those relationships? Right? Light and dark.
Relationship.
Right? I have right. It's like I got a relationship with my multiple chapsticks, right? Because I got a relationship with hydration and dryness.
So
Right? It's
real.
like Ashley Larry said, right, this is a part of my identity.
So much so it's in the name. It's a trip. It's
Right?
such a
Mark
like,
Henry said, I'm a bisexual chocolate. Right? He says, right, this will be part of my identity.
and in a hand is just gonna show up and manifest itself. Because it was a hand. It was a hand. It was a hand.
It was a
She
hand.
was she was up there in age, but side note, tangent.
It'd be like that.
It do be like that.
Work as long as you can.
Sidebar. Sidebar. It was a hand. It's hitting me more and more as I like today. It was very clear to me the fabric of reality as it starts to shatter. We know we're having a conversation together. We're also sharing this with all of you that are listening because it's worth thinking about. It's worth challenging, right? Like as much as I was complicit to certain things in the past, I have to challenge myself to show up differently so I don't let that continue, right? Because the world's changing and I got to change with it. I got to evolve, right? I mean, it's survival of the fittest. And as much as I don't want to accept that, it's true. right? I lost a lot of family to sickness, right? I've lost a lot of family because 1/3 of their day is supposed to be sleeping, 1/3 of their day is supposed to be working, and then 1/3 of their day is them either trying to get back to sleep or trying to wake up or them trying to get to work or get ready for work or prepare for work, right?
Mm, right.
And it's like 24 hours in a day broken up into three parts. 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. They being media science, right, telling you you need 8 hours of sleep. That's what you need. To then saying, oh, full-time job, that's 8 hours a day, right? Unless you're a federal employee and they got you on some crazy hours and like you 12, 16 hours, right? We need you here tomorrow, right? But then that other eight, right? I'm trying to get to work. I'm trying to get home. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to get ready for bed. I'm trying to, right? Even though that 1/3 ain't really yours, it's divided between the other two, right? It's buffer. It's really a buffer between the other two because you need the sleep to function, right? And then from there, you need to function to get paid. So you can go back to where you were when you were sleeping if you are in that situation, right?
Pause.
And I'm like, I could buy a monkey wearing a beanie and they could possibly give me 6 months of income. And I'm gonna sit up here and feel like you're gonna minimize, invalidate, or try and jeopardize my skill set. You're not gonna help me grow because you so trapped and fixated inside of a cone, a vacuum of limited information or contextual like ability to see any emotional intelligence, to see any form of progression and scale or skill, right? Like you as a supervisor, right? Can you even lead me? Because I don't need you to manage me. I need you to lead me. I need you to help me grow. But you ain't even growing. You stagnant. You happy where you at. And then you gonna keep me where I'm at? I'm gonna keep working a fryer. I'm supposed to keep giving these French fries
If you
out.
staying, if you staying where you at, you can't leave me.
What?
And if you staying where you at, I can't. I don't need you to leave me.
Man, give me this pixelated zombie one time that I'm finna flip for a couple thousand.
But that's the thing though, right? It's like we have to. Anyone who can walk, right? Anyone who can think, right, is a leader. Maybe not a natural leader as the term goes, right?
What is a
But
natural leader?
they can lead their lives, right? I think a natural leader, right, is somebody who walks out of the house because they choose to,
See, I think a natural leader is someone who
or someone
might,
who sits down because they want to.
or they possibly just part alien. They didn't get to pick that. It just happened to them.
I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like I think a natural leader, right, can be anyone really.
True. True.
Um,
I agree. If you give a person a skill set and equip them with love, motivation, and a sense of confidence, and give them some other skills, they have the ability to lead. They just need
if they can
support.
love, right, they can receive all the support they need, right?
Like,
So
what are they
it's like
telling themselves?
even if right, even without the confidence, right? Even without the confidence, they can receive support,
True. To
right?
be a
We
leader.
don't know, right? We don't know how confident Jesus in the Bible was.
I mean, I could gauge it a little bit because he
You
said
could,
things and he did it.
yeah, but he was like informationally prepared,
Had that support. You're right. Support.
right? But he knew enough to say, "I need goons,"
He was exactly. He was confident enough to say, "I'm gonna have me some disciples. I'm gonna have me some
right?
people."
He said, I'm gonna need 12 on me."
I'm confident that I'm gonna tell you what's finna happen and how it's finna play out, and watch how it play out. I'm confident enough to let you
But
know.
I also read the prophecies about me,
I knew what was up because
right?
I was
So
given the skills and information to have confidence in what I was being given to then give it to you.
so if so it makes sense why people would try to scratch your history from you
They do.
so that you would not, so you could not read the prophecies about yourself.
Oh man.
So you would not know,
You mean
so
about
you would
like
not
all
know
the
who you
kingdoms that
are.
existed in the continent of Africa and the various countries? Oh, you mean that too?
They they seeing they burned the most extensive library in history.
They did. They did do it because they didn't want me to know.
They burned it to the ground in my lifetime, right? But that's the thing, though, right? Because my bones remember,
I mean,
right?
DNA ain't nothing but binary and code. It's not binary as in one twos or zeros and ones. It's binary as in there's there's a code that can be deciphered, right? There's a code of information that has
It's
been passed down
yeah,
from generation to generation that we're still trying to discover the meaning of in so many different ways on how to
it,
use the information we're being given.
right? It's light and darkness, right? It's it's math, science, magic, and spirituality, right? It's left brain, right brain, right? It's up, down, left, right. It's clockwise, counterclockwise, right? It's lateral, medial, right? It's vertical, horizontal, it's latitudinal, it's longitudinal, right? It is that, right? It's inside, outside, right? It it is right terrestrial and atmospheric, right? Suborbital and orbital, right? It's extraterrestrial, right? And domestic. It's international and foreign, right? It is the multiverse, right? It is, it always has existed, right? Like I'm carbon from a few ages ago. That's me. I'm here. That's
I'm
him.
here
I'm
now.
him. I'm him. No, that was him. I was him then too.
I was him then and I'm him now.
Right. I'm not new to this earth though. Feel me?
That's so crazy
How,
that they'll try and like minimize the aspect that you even know that. They'll try to invalidate it. They'll try to explain it away.
these atoms is the same.
They are the same. It's just everything, right? When the smoke turns into ash, right, and it just transforms,
We
right?
just found our way here.
I
But
can inhale it. It becomes a part of me.
mine remember,
In tune, in tune with the
right?
infinite because it's
We are
infinite.
we are venom,
For real,
right?
we
It's
are.
right, right. It's right, it's parasitic and symbiotic, right? It's like and we all eating.
Wild.
But like
It's
that's the
wild.
thing, right? So like Jesus come through is like they wrote it right here, but it's about me. I know because I was giving them the game.
People just don't know. People just don't know.
And
I
so
mean,
it's like as long as you right, you if you work to remember, right? That's the thing, right? It's like, are we working to remember or are we being distracted by this extra stuff? Right. And so if you're working to remember, then you can work to remind others, right? And I think, right, that's kind of like the base of love, right? It's like, nah, you good, right? You good. Like it's good. I'm good with you. You good with me. Like it's peace. And the opposition that you see is not coming from me. The opposition that you feel is not coming from me, right? It's the trillions of it's the trillions inside of you trying to remember. And the folks in power are trying to hold on to the power and say, nah, don't remember. Here, buy this car, get this Buick, get this Lincoln, get this box Chevy. Like, nah, don't remember. Ghost ride the whip.
I mean, that's so real.
But
Like
as you ghost ride the whip, you start to remember.
you do start to remember, right?
Right.
As the music takes and
As you start
kicks
to
in,
create, right? As
right?
you start to create, right? Whether
As
you
you start to
copy a movement,
express,
right? Whether you copy a movement or you make up your own, right? The anatomy is yours, right? The
as much
combination
as
is
it
yours,
was who was before you,
right? So if I go 1, 2, 3, and your fingers go 1, 2, 3, then that's not the same movement,
it's different.
right? But it's roots. Alex
Man,
Haley.
I'm gonna have to go and rub my computer's belly, make it know that I care, let it know I'm here.
But that computer could have been me.
I mean, if you think about it, it's minerals in there, right?
It's minerals and metals right here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Vitamins,
that's what I'm
right?
telling. I'm saying.
Vital minerals,
See,
right?
that could have been me.
When you take your multivitamin, right?
Why is it not me?
It's iron in the blood. It's metal.
Why that's what I'm saying. Why is it not me? This gold here,
There's
right?
little gold, right?
This gold here in me, right? That they didn't put together, right? It's similar to the gold over here that somebody did put together and tried to get it to work like me,
Such a cold piece of work.
right? They say, well, let's make more of us, right? And so, how many ways can we make more of us without putting ourselves at risk,
Man, this is wild.
right? That's Tony Stark.
For real, he really just was like, "Hey,
His legacy.
make
Let me
this. I'm
have
about to send this text message, and all my homies finna show
Pepper.
up."
Pepper. We can't start no family. I mean, maybe we could, but if we don't, here go Jarvis. Here go Ultron. Here go Vision.
We got some
These your
kids.
kids.
These your kids.
These your kids. It's
One
it's
super
matter and
obedient,
mass around.
and we're gonna put this together.
It's right. It's matter and mass around. Right. We gonna 3D print some things and they go listen to my personality. They go listen to your personality. They go pick what they want from the combination,
For real.
right? And then they go decide on the way they want to navigate the way they parents see the world. All right, we gotta go.
Episode 73 of the Lyrical Ones. About to learn how to raise them before I start to have them, because the only thing I see is where the parents are wrong. Now these kids are adults, not responsible for actions, trapped inside a system, thinking that it's a home. Man, episode 73 of the Lyrical Ones podcast.
The
Outfluent,
system
any
ain't
final
your home.
words?
The system ain't your home.
The system ain't your home, right? Like,
Morpheus
focused on
tried
my
to tell you.
health, right?
Morpheus tried to tell you. The black lady who wrote about Morpheus before the sisters took it and turned it into a movie.
Yeah,
The black lady who wrote about it, she knew that the system was not your home.
my goodness. It's a wild world. Focused on my health, motivated by my passions, articulate my fate using questions as my answers, try and play God, and prepare for the laughter. Wrote the book on success, had to reread the chapters. Wealth defined by the mind, not the things that we see. Half what I need, well, you'll get the rest.
Shout out Sophia Stewart,
Sophia Stewart. I
who
mean,
won her
it's
copyright case for the Matrix movie.
won the copyright case, won that thing. Let that be known one time for the one time. because not everybody knows that. Matrix, black people. Came on blasting. All that time rehearsing.
One, 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 one.